lot of people don't realize that the sisters live in Arizona. And so they're not just routinely driving back and forth to Los Angeles. They've already had to do it multiple times just to deal with this. They had Robert's funeral, and now they have to have Tehran's funeral. So they've already been traveling back and forth. But people are, I don't know why there's this narrative that's being spun that somehow, because they're not visible in front of the cameras, there's something else.
So what is the family's connection to the GoFundMe page? Because the page is down, and I know that $237,000 have been raised in the name of Robert Fuller. What's the family's connection to that?
A GoFundMe page was set up. The family, this idea or this concept that the family somehow set up a GoFundMe page just to raise money when they knew that this was a suicide is a rumor that is absolutely ridiculous, and I know 100% that it's false because I know at the time that I was retained in this case what was going on with the GoFundMe, and I'm gonna leave it there. It does concern me and bother me that Robert Fuller wasn't even buried, and there were all of these rumors circulating about him. And it has always been extremely frustrating that someone would start a rumor so vile that he was accused of child molestation or a suspect in child molestation, knowing that there's no way that he could respond to those baseless allegations. That was incredibly frustrating for me. It was, and still remains, an issue for the family. They are distraught that rumor came out, just like they're distraught about these new rumors that they did this for some GoFundMe account. This is a wonderful family. I've gotten closer with this family because I've talked to them every day. If I had any indication that this family was somehow not just the salt of the earth family, I wouldn't attach myself with it. And I think it is ridiculous that we continue to have these rumors go out while this man is deceased, knowing that they still have to bury their other brother. It's ridiculous. I don't have any evidence to suggest that there was a hate crime. There is nothing to indicate any threats. There's nothing to indicate, again, any foul play. There were no racist sentiments, no symbols or anything in the area. So we don't have any information to suggest that it was a hate crime.
So you have a question on Zoom. They want to know what your take is on the rumors circulating on social media that the LA County Sheriff's misinformation about the case relating to the child molestation and Tehran Boone. Has your investigation found anything about this?
Well, I spoke earlier. I can confirm, obviously, that those rumors are false, that there was any link or any connection. And I can confirm that through our independent investigation as well as my conversations with the Sheriff's Department. I do have a concern as to how the leak came out, trying to make this connection. And the reason I have that concern is because one of the leaks specifically stated that they had information from the Sheriff's Department about what they call Penal Code PC 288, which is child molestation. That concerns me that language was used, that someone would say PC 288, because that is something that either lawyers typically will reference or law enforcement would reference. So that gave me concern that maybe there was an internal leak. I did explain to Sheriff Villanueva that was a concern of mine, that was a concern of the family, and they assured me that they couldn't speak on whether it was a leak or not, but if there was a leak, they would confirm that. They told me that there was no suicide note found and there was no chair, no stool, nothing that they could see at the scene that would assist him. But other than that, that's the only information that my hope actually is to meet with some of the community leaders in Lancaster to answer their questions, because I did promise to be transparent. And I understand why there's concerns. We have the same concerns, especially when we learn the circumstances surrounding the hanging. So I know that there are a lot of questions that community members have in Lancaster. So I would like to sit down with those members in a private session, answer all of their questions, be completely transparent with our investigation, so that they will understand that we did everything that we could to provide answers to the Fuller family.
Do you have an opinion on the investigation itself, now that you have further information?
I've always maintained that there needed to be a thorough investigation done. I've always maintained that, and I'm, thankful to the community for providing the support and the passion necessary to get this thorough investigation done. So
Are you
that's what I said.
satisfied with the investigation?
I will leave it there.
Do you think it was thorough though?
It was much more thorough than when it was initially done.
So what are you still waiting on then? What are you still like waiting to hear? Are you waiting for the Attorney General to review this, or what more do you need to know?
I should have added that as well. I did speak to the Attorney General's office prior to the meeting with the Sheriff's Department. I actually spoke to the Attorney General himself, which I thought was very classy. He called me on my cell phone, and more importantly, he spoke to the family. His assurances that they would oversee the investigation gave our offices excitement and pleasure that we knew that there would be other eyes on this. I was also told that the FBI would be similarly in a situation of overseeing the investigation. So that does bring me relief that there were numerous eyes on this. And when you add all of that information with our internal investigation, I think we've done a pretty thorough job. Yes.
Carl Harvey Jones from Los Angeles
I
Sentinel.
think that would drastically change anything at this moment. I'm curious to know what's on the phone, like I said, to see if it will shed light on what was going on that day. But I don't know when those results will be available because there are issues regarding, there was a password on the phone, so there are issues about when you can access the phone without the password. And
Is that
that could
something
take
that
a
you will
while.
pursue if timely enough?
I'm sorry?
Is that something that you will pursue if timely enough?
I have always promised that I will give this family all of the information, good, bad, and different. So to satisfy the family, my goal is to hopefully get access to the content so that I can give them as much information as possible.
Can you spell the pathologist's name, and then also, did he make a finding like how the coroner's office did, like whether it was a suicide or a homicide?
At this moment, the finding is still not determined yet because he has to wait for his results. Again, given the timeline that we just received the county coroner's report yesterday, he still has to take his time to process, prepare a written analysis on his own that he will then provide to us. So we're waiting for that. Dr. Petruska has been amazing as far as being responsive and working as fast as he can, understanding the circumstances. But these types of things do take time to fully complete. Pieteruska.
Two questions. Do you have an approximate timeline? Like, is it, do you think in a week we'll get those results, or has he given you an update?
I don't know. I can find that out, but I don't know an exact timeline by when the tissue samples will be back. But again, I want to make it clear, I'm not expecting that that's going to dramatically change anything. But in complete thoroughness to the family, I told them I would find out every answer that I can find out and let you know.
My second question is, the LA County Sheriff's Department, at their press conference, they mentioned a history of mental illness. They cited some examples. Do you have any comments on that from the family?
I will tell you this, that the family was not aware of any significant issues of mental health illness that they thought would lead him to ever harm himself. We have not had the opportunity to review the medical records that were cited. I received the information just an hour before most of you received that information. Again, to be thorough and complete for the family, we would like to see those records as well, just so that we can share that with the family, they can see it, and then we'll have a better understanding of what was potentially going on during these different visits. But I'm just going by what the sheriff said during their press conference yesterday.